Okie dokie. Wonderful. Wonderful. I know most of you have not messed with digital medium format. I came within about that close of buying a Mamiya Leaf a few years ago, and every time I mess with my Fujifilm GFX, I just fall more and more in love with it. No, it's not a Fujifilm love fest here. This is a statement for now phase one. Of course, I don't know if you know how much a phase one camera costs, but it costs a lot of money. Like a Hasselblad, let's just talk about Hasselblad for example. A Hasselblad H6D 100C, 100 megapixels, really nice. Okay, not their lenses, however. I'm not a fan of the Hassy lenses. $33,000. My question is not talking about Fujifilm per se, but when Fujifilm, of course we already have the GFX, which is, people think it's expensive. You know, it's a lot of money, but for medium format it is really, really cheap. When Fujifilm drops out their rangefinder medium format, and next year drops the upgrade version of the the Fujifilm GFX with the 100 megapixel sensor, and I even have the model name on the sensor. I forget what it is, a bunch of numbers, but I already have the model name of the 100 megapixel sensor because phase one is already using it in a couple things. And I assume that the next version of the GFX will be somewhere in the $8,000 or $9,000 range. I'm only guessing. It should be somewhere around there. You know, compared to what, $33,000? Hasselblad. What? What are you going to do? It is the case that the X1D, which when it came out, I told everybody it was a horrible camera. I got my hands on it twice. It's like buggy. It's got a lot of bugs. It's got cockroaches galore in it. They cannot be fixed. Some things were fixed with firmware. It's still got issues, slow startup, geometric bokeh. You can't stick an adapted lens on it unless you use electronic shutter, because it's a leaf shutter. Isn't that wonderful? Leaf shutter has its advantages and its disadvantages. It means you cannot use the camera as a field viewing device. You can't attach bellows to it and stick some sort of freaky old lens on the front of it and use it as a field camera. What are you going to do, Hasselblad, when Fujifilm this time, well, a little bit later than this time next year, but a year from now, what are you going to do, Hasselblad, with your $33,000 H6D and phase one? And phase one, I've had my hands on phase one 3 times. Yeah, they do have some really, really cool features in the phase one for product photography. But they are very expensive advanced. But we are talking about spending as much as a new house. Not an expensive new house, but a good house. So, you know, I assume that's justifiable. $60,000, $50,000, worth it? No. If you can justify it and you're doing an enormous amount of product work, sure you could justify it. What is Hasselblad going to do with their $33,000 beasts this time next year when Fujifilm drops a camera that's made better, more reliable, far superior ergonomics to the freaking bulky bleeping Hasselblad, with better lenses too, by the way. Hasselblad does have more lens choices, but their lenses are inferior. Hasselblad does have some really nice lenses, but there's more than a few, even Hasselblad lovers, that admit their lenses. There's got a lot of sucky lenses in there. What are you going to do, Hasselblad, trying to sell off those $30,000 cameras relative to the 100 megapixel GFX 100S this time next year, which should be around, well, it'll be 70% less. You know, $8,000, $9,000, even if it's $10,000. That's still a third the price of your beasts. I just wonder, this is me thinking out loud, what is Hasselblad going to do? You know, phase one is an ultra high specialty product. And you see, this is what you don't get either. You all told me, and I told you you were wrong from the get-go. You said, oh, Fujifilm's not going to sell a bunch of those medium format cameras. They're so expensive. It is relatively, I mean, it's more expensive than a lollipop, but for medium format, it's actually extremely cheap. I said, Fujifilm, you don't realize how expensive medium format digital is. I said Fujifilm's going to sell the hell out of the GFX. You know, you think $6,500 is a lot of money? Yeah, no. For medium format, it's really, really cheap. And it's a superior product to anything that Mamiya has or Pentax has, or Hasselblad's X1D, or the Leica Beast, which is just nothing other than a fashion style. I got a Leica medium format. Good. You got a overpriced, poorly made, poorly designed product. Fujifilm has cornered medium format. They have. Nikon, Canon, Sony, Pentax, Mamiya, Leica. This time next year, well, a little bit later than this time next year, Fujifilm will have 3 medium format cameras. I mean, they're just tap dancing on the skulls of everybody. Can you think, I would like for you to think, in all the camera competition out there, from film to digital, how is it any other company has managed to dominate and stand on the skulls of everybody else within a really brief period of time in a particular format? Nobody has managed to do that. This time next year, Fujifilm, they're already, 80% of the way there. We know what's coming out. Fujifilm will have done that. No other camera company in any format has ever done that in history. Not that I can think, and I've squeezed my brain on that, but has? No. Nobody else has. So all of you that asked, why would Fujifilm want to go into medium format? That's such a limited market. Well, digital SLRs are limited marketed too, relative to all the, these stupid idiots out there that are popping off their iPhones, taking, iPhone photos, because it's good enough. That's what we call it, good enough photography. It's good enough. It's like, well, he's got an iPhone, why do we bring a professional camera? Well, it fits in my pocket, and it's good enough. That's what they all say. You know it, I know it, I've heard it 1,000 times, and so have you. So what are you going to do, Hasselblad? Are you still going to be able to sell that $33,000 obnoxious, hairy warthog of a camera of yours? Half of your lenses of which suck. Are you going to be able to sell that once Fujifilm has 3 medium format cameras that are made better, far cheaper, better ergonomics, better? Let me know how that works out for you next year, Hasselblad, and Leica, and Pentax, and Mamiya. The Hasselblad X1D has been such a failure, and this is not my opinion, that it's selling for half off. You remember all these other YouTube shill channels like, oh, the Hasselblad X1D is marvelous, mate. You got to buy you one. It's like, no, it's a turd. And like 3 months after that video was made, it's like, hey, the Hasselblad X1D is half off in Europe. I posted links showing people, a lot of other people in Europe told me, like, look, it's half off. It's half off because it's got a lot of bugs that can't be fixed with firmware, and they're trying to get rid of them. I love the Fujifilm GFX. I love the crap out of it. I love it. Every time I use it, I fall more deeply in love with it. It's nothing to do with Fujifilm. Am I sucking up to Fujifilm? No. I love the shit out of the GFX Fujifilm. Excuse me for cussing. I had to do it. I love the damn camera. I was just using it earlier today. Yeah, $33,000 for that Hasselblad. Good luck with that next year, Hasselblad.